Baba ki Jai. Thank you, beloved Baba, and Jai Baba to all of you.
Yeah. Wow.
And thanks to Janice for volunteering to be the host for this session. Uh, Rakesh is finding it difficult to host all the meetings. The last time also I had said that we need volunteers. Poor Janice has been a very willing volunteer on so many groups. So I would just request if somebody who's good at it and who is dedicated, who takes a commitment, should do our Tuesday and Saturday sessions so that Janice is not overburdened and neither is Rakesh Acharya overburdened. Anyway, just let Rakesh know if any of you are well versed with these electronic gadgets, and then if you're willing to be committed to come on every Tuesdays and Saturdays. All right. We are reading.
Uncle, we can help them or train them also
Yeah,
if
and
required.
Janice says we can train them also. So if somebody wants to be trained, you can be trained. I don't think it'll be a very difficult task. Only thing is I don't want to divert my attention to other things when I'm reading Baba. Otherwise, I could have hosted as well. All right. We are reading this very beautiful book called Flowing Conversations with the Awakener, and we are on page number 17, and the chapter is Ego, the ingrained disease. Ego, the ingrained disease. Go ahead.
After having tea and biscuits, I was ready for my weekly late afternoon stroll. Catching a bus, I got down on the outskirts of town and walked to my favorite tree lined lane, a long, secluded path winding along the base of the hills. I loved that stroll, seeing the branches woven into one another, forming a verdant canopy. It was wonderful how each tree adjusted itself to the others, none disturbing another's growth and grace. The trunks of the trees stood poised, supporting and sustaining the entire network of branches. It appeared to be an arbor of loving friendship. The sparkling leaves, colored in various shades of green, brought to me the message of oneness in manyness. Some leaves were long and coarse, others small and tender. A few were large and yellowish, a bit dry and happily withering, resigning themselves to the flow of the seasons and relaying your message to accept life joyously in all its phases. It was a lovely sight. When the wind blew, the leaves rustled as though singing a song of glory to the earth, sky, and sun. As I walked, I appreciated the sight of nature, its parts interwoven in a vision of harmony. Suddenly, a thought crossed my mind. Where might you be now, the center of all this life? I continued walking, and after a little distance, to my amazement, I saw you sitting on a bench in silence as though deeply absorbed in your own infinite self. Your magnificent figure embodied such gentleness, and your radiance permeated everything as far as my eyes could see.
The beauty of this book is that besides conveying to us the truths of how one should conduct oneself in life, it is giving a very beautiful panorama of nature, of things around us, which we miss seeing and miss appreciating. Last time in our one of our earlier sessions, Baba did say that every little thing that you do, put your mind into it. Be mindful of what it is, the innate aspect of that, and also remember me when you do each and everything. So here, this is the chapter called Ego, the ingrained disease. Now we all know, I'm just going to be a little philosophical in a sense that Baba has said that ego is the real thing. Ego is equal to existence. When we talk about diminishing ego, eliminating ego, Baba is talking about the false ego, the ego mind, as we say. So ego is the real thing. Ego cannot be annihilated. Ego is equal to, you can say, beingness. Ego is equal to existence. Everything that exists is, in a sense, being or ego. What is to be annihilated, what is to be eradicated is the mind. That's why manonash. Manonash means manonash, the annihilation of the mind. The ego cannot be annihilated. The ego is to be transformed from the first original ego, which was in the beyond state of God, Paratpar Brahma state, we all know that, then became the false ego. The false ego is self-centric, separative, finite ego, which identifies itself with the body or the vehicle it takes. And I don't want to go into the entire aspects of God speaks. And then, so there is the original ego, then there is the false ego, and then finally at the fag end of the journey, so-called journey, that false ego is transmuted, is transformed into the real ego, that is Aham Brahmasmi, or I am God state. So, but here, in a sense, the ego is used as a finite, small, separative ego. Ego, the ingrained disease. After having tea and biscuits, I was ready for my weekly late afternoon stroll. Perhaps you may be aware that even Baba used to take late afternoon stroll in Mehrazad, along with maybe Erach or Francis or anybody. Those who have visited Mehrazad, they know such a beautiful, beautiful stretch, of walk over there. And Baba used to go walking over there. Catching a bus, I got down on the outskirts of town and walked to my favorite tree-lined lane. If you've been to Mehrazad, you will see that the moment you enter the lane, where the private road, what we call as Mehrazad private road, there is a change of energy. You actually feel an impact of something divine, of something so beautiful, something so tranquil, the moment you enter that lane. So this is a tree-lined lane, a long, secluded path winding along the base of the hills. I loved that stroll, seeing the branches woven into one another, forming a verdant canopy. Verdant means lush green, lush green. And canopy is like a cover, providing a shelter. The same thing you will find in Mehrazad. I distinctly remember in the earlier years, when we used to go taking the entire bus, Bombay Center bus, the bus would be loaded with luggage, which would be quite high on the, what you may call as the luggage carrier. And the trees were so beautifully, they were all bending like this, like a canopy, that more often than not, somebody's luggage would fall off because they were so low. So immediately the moment we hear a sound, we would halt the bus and pick up the luggage and keep it inside. So that sort of a reminiscence of visiting Mehrazad in those earlier days. It was wonderful how each tree adjusted itself to the other, none disturbing another's growth and grace. We need to learn that from the trees, that we need to live in harmony as a group and adjust ourselves in such a way that we do not disturb somebody else's growth, and we live in harmony, we live in grace, just the way as the trees were living. The trunks of the trees stood poised, supported and sustaining the entire network of branches. As we say in our life, in principles, certain principles, we need to be very poised and very straight and very unbending. But in other aspects of, other than the principles, we can always be bending and twisting and adjusting so that everybody grows as a group. It appeared to be an arbor of loving friendship. An arbor is a kind of a small forest, a groove of forest, small forest, not a huge forest, but a small forest. So it appeared to be an arbor of loving friendship. The sparkling leaves colored in various shades of green, brought to me the message of oneness in manyness. Again, we have a message from Baba, what we call as the unity in diversity. We are supposed to experience that in spite of the fact that we are all diverse, we cannot be, we are one in a sense, but at the same time, we cannot all be equal. In a sense, each one has different sets of samskaric patterns, and therefore each one's attitudes, each one's nature, each one's behavioral pattern is different. But at the core level, we are all one. We had done a chapter much earlier called Swabhav and Swarup. Swarup is the Roop, the self. The Roop is one, but the Swabhav, the manifestation of that Roop is different. And the manifestation is directly based on our wiring. We did that example, of the fan and electricity and oven and television and all that. I won't go into that again. But the Swarup is the one, electricity in all. But the Swabhav, the manifestation is different based on how each equipment is wired. In the same way, how each of us are wired through our samskaras, we are different. We sometimes say, oh, he's a very difficult person, she's a very difficult person. They are not difficult, they are different. And because they are different from us, we find it difficult to adjust ourselves to their ways of behavior. So here again, very beautifully, Baba says that it is, the author says that it brought to me the message of oneness in manyness. Some leaves were long and coarse, others small and tender. A few were large and yellowish, a bit dry, and happily withering. Happily withering. We are all going to, we in a sense, the body is all going to wither, all going to drop. So we need to be happily withering rather than, crying and weeping and wailing. Sorry? Cringing. Rather than cringing. Correct. It's that we need to really grow up in a manner and not, when you stop, what is it called? You stop growing. Anyway, it escaped. It will come. So basically what the author is trying to say, and I'm interpreting it, that just as how leaves happily wither and fall off, and new leaves come up in spring, in the same way, correct. All right. So what I'm trying to convey is that it's a cycle and we need to accept it. And nobody has escaped that. The more we accept it willingly, the happier you are. You grow happily. You stop aging. Your message to accept life joyously in all its phases, it was a lovely sight. In other words, again, we are being told that we must accept life as it is, because there is no other way. I keep repeating this very beautiful sentence, which I love very much. Imagine the insanity of not accepting what is, because what is just is. Whether you accept it or not, it just is. If you accept it, then instead of wasting your energy on why me, poor me, it should not have happened, had this been done, whatever it is, instead of wasting your energy in that, you need to invest your energy. Okay, what now? What is the next step? What is the solution? How can I grow from it? How can I come out of it? So here the beautiful message is that Baba says that you must joyously accept whatever situation that you are in. When the wind blew, the leaves rustled as though singing a song of glory to the earth, sky, and sun. Rustling is a sound that is made by the leaves when the wind blows. As I walked, I appreciated the sight of nature, its parts interwoven in a vision of harmony. You will see, if you go to a forest and all that, there's a lot of, they're all interwoven and they live in harmony, happily. Suddenly a thought crossed my mind. Where might you be? The center of all this, the center of all this life, everything that is happening, the center is Baba, the center is the Awakener. Suddenly a thought crossed my mind. Where might you be now, the center of all this life? I continued walking, and after a little distance, to my amazement, I saw you sitting on a bench in silence, as though deeply absorbed in your own infinite self. Your magnificent figure embodied such gentleness, and your radiance permeated everything as far as my eyes could see.
I hesitated to approach you, but my heart nudged me to sit down beside you. Not acknowledging my arrival, you remained undisturbed. A hushed tranquility reigned in the air and filled me. Though close, I felt you were many light years away from me. You exuded such perfect detachment, but I could no longer take in the quietness, so I softly said, "Look, I'm here." Flashing a gentle smile from the depths of your eyes, you softly replied, "Yes, and I am here and everywhere too. But now, can we converse?" I implored. "If you wish, I won't mind," you responded and inquired, "How are you keeping?" "I am fine, thank you." "Is it really so?" you said, probing more deeply. "Yes, I think so," I answered, wondering why you repeated the question. I continued, "I am quite well. I'm sleeping well and eating well too," you teased. But then you added, "All this does not mean that you are healthy." "Then what does it mean?" I asked with a puzzled look. "Do you want me to be like a champion athlete before I can call myself healthy?" Being a good wrestler or a top player of any sport is not necessarily a sign of real health, you remark. Such persons can be regarded as physically healthy, but real health lies in a harmonious balance of body, mind, and heart, our actions, thoughts, and feelings. This equilibrium opens a way to being healthy in its true sense. Do you understand? A bit. But is it real health dependent upon one's physical health? I asked, trying to clarify. You replied, "Yes, but not entirely. In certain cases, it can be regarded as the visible tip of the iceberg. But mostly, your outward physical life is directed and even governed by your innermost desires and the extent to which they are satisfied. When you became conscious of just how binding desires are, that awareness alone will automatically begin to adjust your actions. You will try to withdraw yourself from certain desires once you know that indulging in them is not healthy. When you learn that fire burns your fingers, you naturally withdraw your hand from it. Isn't it so? Life's truths are as direct as that. Your simple, straightforward statements gave me a deeper understanding of what you conveyed.
Where was I? Okay. I hesitated to approach you, but my heart nudged me to sit down beside you. Not acknowledging my arrival, you remained undisturbed. A hushed tranquility reigned in the air and filled me. Though close, I felt you were many light years away from me. You exuded perfect detachment. But I could no longer take in the quietness, so I softly said, "Look, I am here." Flashing a gentle smile from the depths of your eyes, you softly replied, "Yes, and I am here and
Jeva, am I audible?
Yes, Janice,
Uh,
you're audible, but I think they've gone
Cyrus
off.
uncle has
Yeah.
network issue.
okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeva. So we'll wait for uncle to join back.
Yeah, he usually does. He usually does.
Okay, okay, sorry. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Janice.
Bye-bye.
Janice, you may need to inform him.
Okay, I'll call him. I spoke to Cyrus uncle. He has some network issues and trying to join back.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Janice. Jai Baba.
Welcome, dear Baba.
Janice, is it internet problem?
Yes, he said some network issues.
Okay,
They're trying to figure out and join again.
okay. Thank you.
Welcome.
Am I audible? Hello? Yes?
Yes, uncle. A little lag.
Audible?
There's still a little lag.
A little
Yes.
light.
Yes.
Okay. Little lag. Oh. Anyway, let's see how
Uncle,
far we
can
go.
you
So anyway,
try to
I
switch
think
off your
that's
video and
because
speak? Cyrus uncle?
okay, that will be. Okay, oh, sorry. Okay, the video. Okay. Any better?
Yes. Can you talk a little more?
Okay, I will talk a little loudly.
Yes,
Oh,
uncle.
yeah,
This is
it's
good.
better.
Okay.
This is better.
All right. So here Baba is talking about health. So here Baba is asking, how are you? And the author says, I am fine, thank you. Is it really so? You said, probing more deeply. Yes, I think so, I answered, wondering why you repeated the question. I continued, I am quite well, I am sleeping well and eating well too. You teased, but then you added, all this does not mean that you are healthy. So your Baba is trying to tell us that just because you are physically healthy does not mean that you are healthy. And of course, I won't read the whole thing because of the situation. Jump to what Baba is trying to say. What Baba is to say that it is balance of the body, the mind, and the heart. When they are all in sync, when they are all at the same level, when all in, it is only be called as a healthy person. Being a good wrestler or a top player of any sport is not necessarily a sign of real health. Such persons can be regarded as physically healthy, but real health lies in a harmonious balance of body, mind, and heart. That means our actions, thoughts, and this equilibrium opens a way to being healthy in true sense. Do you understand? The author says a bit, but isn't real health dependent upon one's physical health? I asked, trying to clarify. You replied, yes, but not entirely. In certain cases, it can be regarded as the visible tip of the iceberg. We all know that iceberg is something like 1/10 above the water and the 9/10 is below the water. So physical health is only a limited aspect of complete or total health. What is important is that you should also have a healthy mind and a healthy body and also a healthy feelings. But mostly your outward physical life is directed and even governed by your innermost desires and the extent to which these are satisfied. In other words, Baba is trying to say is that your external health is because of the fulfillment of certain desires. Sorry, go.
When you learn to burn your fingers, finding me receptive to your words, you continued to further cultivate real health. You must learn about just any, which is the ingrained. There was a blank look on my face. In disease, this disease exactly. People don't know that everyone is suffering from it. That is why I call it ingrained. And moreover, people feel proud of the behaviors which, ironically, are a manifestation of the disease itself. You explained. Excuse me, but this is still confusing, I admitted. All right, I will give you a few instances which will help you to know the nature of it. For example, you take delight in exposing the weaknesses of others, especially in their absence. Sorry. Sometimes you pass sly remarks to make fun of certain individuals in order to assert your superiority, or just to be polite. You greet your acquaintances with a smile, and then as soon as they leave, you may make fun of them. All these are symptoms of the ingrained disease that arise out of the false idea that you have a separate, special identity. This is your ego trying to hold on to some I-ness out of fear of being nothing.
All right, Janice, I would like to ask the group whether they can hear and follow us, or we would like to, in a sense, cancel this session so that we can read the whole chapter on next turn, Saturday.
Sure.
Just see whether they are able to give you some response.
So,
Because the
Uncle,
whole idea is that we
हाँ जी,
should be able to convey correctly, and I'm not sure whether
Hmm.
we are able to do that.
Sure.
Can you just take a call by
Now it's
Jai
asking
Baba,
audible.
we can
them
hear.
or
We
something
can
like that?
hear.
Now it's audible.
You are okay with this, correct?
Yes, yes. Now it's okay.
Lovely, lovely. So your Baba says that this ego is so ingrained. It is a disease. And then Baba goes on to say, it is hard to define this disease exactly. People don't know that everyone is suffering from it. We are all suffering from this disease, which is ingrained and which is called the ego. That is why I called it ingrained. And moreover, people feel proud of the behaviors which ironically are manifestation of the disease itself. You explained. In other words, we are suffering from a disease and we feel proud of that particular behavior of ours without realizing that it is the result or an outcome or a manifestation of a disease. Right. Excuse me, but still, this is confusing, I admit it. All right. I will give you a few instances which will help you to know the nature of it. Now, Baba is giving us a few instances, examples of this disease which we all indulge in without knowing that this is a disease. Not only do we indulge in it, but we also feel proud about it. Right. For example, you take delight in exposing the weaknesses of others, especially in their absence. Don't we all do that? What we call as backbiting, what we call as slander. Somebody is not there and we are exposing their weaknesses. And Baba had elsewhere said that even though you may be saying whatever you may be saying is the truth from your standpoint, but to expose it and to feel happy about such an exposition is a sense of a disease. It's a slander. In the absence of that person, you are narrating somebody else's weaknesses. So that is it. Especially in their absence, sometimes you pass sly remarks to make fun of certain individuals in order to assert your superiority. We pass certain sly remarks in order to make them feel low, make them feel down, that I am superior to somebody else. Or just to be polite, you greet your acquaintances with a smile, and then as soon as they leave, you may make fun of them. So aren't we doing all these things? So we are all ingrained in that ego disease. All these are symptoms of the ingrained disease that arise out of the false idea that you have a separate spatial identity. This is your ego trying to hold on to some I-ness out of fear of being nothing. In other words, ego, the false ego, we are always talking about the false ego, is nothing but an assertion of separateness from the whole. It is nothing but a drop soul experiencing itself as a drop, although it is within the ocean and although it is the ocean. And this separation, this apparent separation, is because of the bubble of ignorance, the bubble of the mind. You went on. The disease dwells deep within you, and yet you are not fully conscious of it. It is so innate. It has been going on for eons. It has been going on since the time of creation. And therefore, even though it is in us, within us, we are not even aware that this is a disease. In fact, you continue to nurture it. In fact, we are feeding our ego. We are making our ego grow fat through your thoughts and actions until it begins to dominate you. We are all not only egocentric, but we are all slaves of our own samskaras or karmas.
slaves of our past. And that is why the past dominates us. We are not able to pause and take decisions which are spiritually beneficial to us. We get driven by the past. We are overcome by the past. And here Baba uses the word, you get dominated by the past. Generally, you sit in judgment over what others say and do. See, we are always judging people of what they say and what they do. And therefore, Baba has always said, that do not waste your lifespan in judging other beings, because ultimately, whenever you judge anybody, you are actually coming from your limited, finite experience of that somebody. And therefore, in a sense, your judgment is nothing but a reflection of your own self. You regard this as your right and feel that there is nothing wrong in it. You feel that there is nothing wrong in judging and evaluating other people and others' behavior, and even slandering them, even backbiting them, even making them feel low and making our ego feel more superior. But in doing so, you deny others the freedom to respond to life as they choose. Each one of us are a bundle of samskaras, and each one of us cannot but behave in a particular pattern based on what is the texture of our samskaras. So if we are judging somebody, if we are dominating somebody, if we are pressing down somebody, then what we are doing is we are not allowing that somebody the freedom to respond to life as they choose. What if others disagree with you? Do you like that? No. You complain that they don't understand you. The moment somebody disagrees with you, our complaint has been that they do not understand our standpoint. They do not understand you. This is the nature of interplay between people. The nature of interplay between people is that each one thinks that he or she is correct or right, and the other person is thinking or behavior is wrong. And that is why it is well said that this is my way, what is your way, there is no the way. We always get into my way being the way, and we suppress somebody else's way. Such responses are particularly deceptive as they have become an unconscious part of your daily living. That means day in and day out, we think that whatever we are thinking, whatever we are feeling, whatever acts we are doing are correct, and whatever the other person is doing are not correct. But why do I do this? I inquired. Because your ego derives pleasure from being someone exceptional, someone superior to others. One of the aspects of ego, number one, is to assert separateness. And the second aspect of the ego is to assert superiority over the others. So why do we keep thinking that I am the only person whose thinking is correct and somebody else's behavior is incorrect, or somebody else is difficult? Why do we slander? Why do we backbite? Why do we put down somebody? Is because we want to have certain pleasure of experiencing the superiority towards others. You were right, I thought. You had exactly pinpointed the central weakness in my behavior. And that perhaps goes for most of us, that is a weakness that we want to always assert that I am right and you are not quite right. You may be right, but you are not quite right as I am. Something like that. I could see how I masked my shortcomings in order to assert self-importance. We assert self-importance by masking our shortcomings and our weaknesses. Feeling embarrassed. You want to read? Okay. Soumya will read now. Feeling embarrassed.
Feeling embarrassed, I lowered my eyes to the ground. You knew that I needed further guidance and spoke again. Learn how to honor all the people you encounter and with whom you share your life. including those you generally take for granted. As you live with a mindful spirit, you will feel my presence in those who take part directly or indirectly in each step of your day. Try to see me in them. This is the loving attitude that will lead you to holistic health.
We'll go step by step. So here what Baba is saying is, okay, learn how to honor all the people you encounter and with whom you share your life. We need to be able to have the eye to see Baba in each one and everything and honor their feelings also and their ways of behavior. As you live with a mindful spirit, we have to be very mindful of the fact that Baba is in everyone and everything. But in the final analysis, Baba is everyone and everything. So as you live with a mindful spirit, you will feel my presence in those who take part directly or indirectly in each step of your day. Try to see me in them. This is the loving attitude that will lead you to holistic health. Holistic health would mean overall health. So we need to cultivate the habit of being able to perceive Baba's presence in each and everyone and each and everything.
I appreciated the compassionate way you instructed me about my oversights without hurting my feelings. I confessed I should honor each person as a way of glorifying your presence in them. I'm sorry. I can see how I have been negligent and blind. I continually undervalue the many people who play important roles connected with my life. Radiating divine dignity, you revealed. In the past, you have had only an intellectual understanding of your existence. This has led you astray, but trust in me will guide you to see that I reside in all. That is reassuring, but how can I get over this human dilemma of not feeling your presence in each person I meet? I asked. You have to be very watchful over yourself in everything you do. Witness dispassionately your actions and thoughts. Through this process, I will help you to respond in the ways that I wish. The deeper you dive into this flowing practice, the more you will feel my help in a variety of ways. Will this be enough? Don't worry about the future, you assured me. This mindful way of living will offer you inner strength to face yourself as you go through life. It will also be a good beginning in overcoming selfishness, which is the manifestation of the ingrained disease. I spoke aloud. Now I know why you call this malady my worst enemy. But is there any further remedy for it? Yes, to free yourself from enslavement to the five senses by offering all of your sensory experiences to me. But to do that, you must have firm faith in me. This faith could be referred to as a sixth sense that opens a new dimension in your life in which the center of activity lies not in your individuality alone, but also in your attempts to please me. This sixth sense will control and steer you through the misleading pleasures that distract you and make you a victim of the ingrained disease. You seemed satisfied that I had now caught at least a glimpse of the nature of my problem.
All right. I may not read the whole paragraph because we have to run with the time. The author says, I appreciated the compassionate way you instructed me about my oversights without hurting my feelings. We've seen this over and over again, that Baba never loses his patience that is always caring, always forgiving, always uplifting, always trying to help us out into whatever situations that we are. In fact, one of the messages of Baba says that do not ever feel that you're so depraved that you can never rise up again. There's always an opportunity for even the worst of the sinners to rise and become saints in the future. All right. Then here again, radiating divine dignity you revealed. In the past, you have had only an intellectual understanding of your existence. This has led you astray, but trust in me will guide you to see that I reside in all. We always feel that, oh, Baba is within our hearts, but we fail to understand that Baba is also in everyone's heart, and we need to honor and respect and love Baba in the other person's heart too. That is reassuring. How can I get over this human dilemma of not feeling your presence in each person I meet? See, we intellectually understand that Baba is in everyone and everything, but why is it that I'm not able to feel your presence in the other person? Baba says, you have to be very watchful over yourself in everything you do. Again, the key word is being watchful, is being mindful. Witness dispassionately. Very beautiful word. Witness dispassionately. That means without any emotions, without any bias, without any prejudice. Objectively, we call it objectively and not subjectively. Witness dispassionately your actions and thoughts. Through this process, which process? The process of witnessing, being a witness to everything that we think and speak and do. Through this, yes, this process, I will help you respond in the ways that I wish. If you're dispassionate, if you're only witness, I will help you. The more you dive into this flowing practice, the more you will my help a variety of ways. See, all our associations with Baba is one-to-one. It's all heart related. There are no two connections which are exactly the same. So we need to
I think they've logged out again. We'll wait for Uncle to join.
I don't know how others are feeling, but I would prefer if we redo this session, please. Because many of
Sure.
the words are
Am
being
I audible
Because the
now?
volume is very slow.
Am I audible now?
Dynasty,
Sorry?
you're very much audible, but the volume is poor. And when Soumya talks, the volume is still better. So perhaps the mic needs to be held a little closer. Thank you.
We can't hear you actually.
Uh,
Okay, never mind. So I'll read it. No, doesn't matter.
Cyrus
We
Uncle,
all are concerned.
am I audible?
Yes,
Ji,
yes, very much.
so someone said they are not able to follow clearly. Perin auntie, you said that?
Yes.
And Tilshad, I can hear Uncle's voice clearly. At least it's clear
Okay,
to
what
me.
we will do is,
Janice, it is
we will
clear.
we will finish the chapter. Never mind. We'll
Haji.
redo it. We'll
Please.
redo it because it's a very beautiful chapter.
It
So
is.
many things which are ingrained within us. Baba is bringing it out. So never mind. We'll complete it till 6:30. We will read it,
Yeah.
and then we'll read it, and then we'll redo it again on Saturday. And
On
hope.
Saturday, Cyrus,
Thank you.
Yes, Aban.
you will be doing it on Saturday,
We will again do it on Saturday. Yes.
oh, not on Tuesday.
So you have a party to attend now. You may go.
No. For next Tuesday, I'm telling you.
No.
it
We
will be
can't jump
Saturday.
like that. We'll go serially. I'm sorry, we
Dear
can't jump like that. But
Oh,
never
Baba
mind. Now let
Saraswati,
us
I have a
continue.
question. I have a
Yes,
question,
go,
if
yeah,
I
go
may
ahead,
ask.
please. Rakesh, go ahead.
So this word mindfulness is coming again and again. So could you
Yes.
please explain what is mindful living, mindful existence, and with example, and what would be
I
a
would look at it
mindful
that
living and
way.
unmindful
In
living?
the earlier chapters, Baba had given the example that if you are watching a flower, just be mindful about it. See the beauty, see the color, see the have the aroma. In other words, let each of your actions pass through your conscious mind, and do not do things in an unconscious manner. Unconscious doesn't mean sound sleep. I don't mean that unconscious, because most of us are behaving like an on automation. Automatically we do things without allowing those things to pass through our conscious awareness, conscious mindfulness. So what Baba is saying, trying to tell us is, even the tiniest of the things, in earlier chapter, if you remember, Rakesh, Baba said that when you are eating the food, be mindful, let your mind be totally on the food. See the aroma, smell the aroma, see the beauty of the colors, taste it well, and as you gulp every morsel, you think about the beauty of that food and think about Baba. So that is what I understand as being mindful. That means being conscious, that means being aware every moment of what we are doing, and not being carried on, in a sense, through unconsciousness. And again, by unconscious, I mean not being mindful of the moment. We need to be aware, mindful, conscious, moment to moment. As you are listening, you are mindful. As I'm speaking, I'm mindful. It's not on automatic mode or automation. We are very aware and alert of what we are reading, and attentive. Yes, another word could be attentive. So that way, I would interpret it that way, Rakesh.
Cyrus, could it
Yes,
be
Aman.
one word, concentrate?
Yes, you can use that word. Yes, correct.
That
Yes,
is the simple
concentrate.
way.
Yes,
Concentrate
yes.
completely with your
Yes,
eyes,
yes,
with
yes.
your
Yeah,
mind,
yeah.
with everything.
In other
So
words,
could
in
we
other
also,
words, once we gain this art of mindfulness, we are digressing, but never mind, then each and every thought, word, feeling, and action would be governed by what I would call, as conscious of the sowing season and not of the harvesting season. That means every moment we are doing two things. One is sowing the seeds for the future, and also harvesting the fruits of the past. So, what comes across on the consciousness, or I would say on the screen of our consciousness every moment, is nothing but the harvest of the fruits which we have, of the seeds which we have sown in the past. So, every moment we need to be conscious of what we are sowing, so that we know what we'll get in the future. I don't know whether I'm making myself clear.
okay, can we also understand it like this, that being mindful means that mind discharges its function of allowing the consciousness to connect spirit and the universe?
Yes. It's a
Yeah.
combination of everything. Yes.
Yeah.
That means, in short, as Aban said, concentration, we are fully involved in what we are doing. And if we are involved in what we are doing, together with the participation of the Lord, in what we are doing, and that is what Baba says, this will give rise to what is known as the sixth sense. And this sixth sense will lead you on to me. That's what Baba is saying. You got my point. So anyway, we'll read it now again. I'll read it now. Okay. So Bal Natuji is asking about, is that enough? And Baba says, don't bother about the future. Don't worry about the future. We have done this in discourses in the past. That spirituality is putting into action that little bit of knowledge, which means the divine knowledge, into action, so that the next lamp will burn and it will let us know what the next step is. You are not being given the whole map, the whole map at a glance. You have to take step by step by step. So Baba says, don't worry about the future. You assured me. This mindful way of living will offer you inner strength to face yourself as you go through life. It will also be a good beginning in overcoming selfishness, because the moment we are mindful, we will tend to, because we are alert, we tend to be less and less selfish in the bargain, which is the manifestation of the ingrained disease. I spoke aloud. Now I know why you call this malady my worst enemy. But is there any further remedy for me? Baba says, yes, to free yourself from enslavement to the five senses by offering all of your sensory experiences to me. Baba has said this: the good, the bad, the ugly, all your thoughts, all your feelings, all your emotions, all your actions, offer it to me. And when you offer it to me, I take it upon myself and absolve you of the karmic bindings. But to do that, you must have firm faith in me. This faith could be referred to as the sixth sense that opens a new dimension in your life in which the center of activity lies. This is extremely important. We have done this. We have done this earlier with a different word terminology, agent of action. We used to say that. But here Baba says the center of activity lies not in your individuality alone, but also in your attempts to please me. That means the agent of action is now shifted from I, my, me, and mine to Baba is doing through me. But it has to be done with all honesty and all sincerity. This sixth sense will control and steer you through the misleading pleasures that distract you and make you a victim of the ingrained disease. Once we enthrone Baba in our hearts, once we think that it is not I who is doing, but it is Baba who is doing, then automatically, over a period of time, selfishness will dissolve and no further karma bindings would take place, because you, as a separative ego, are not the agent of action. You seemed satisfied that I had now caught at least a glimpse of the nature of my problem. I am deeply grateful to you, I said. I will try to do my best to fight this disease. You know how I succumb to my weaknesses. We all succumb to our weaknesses. So I sincerely request you to guide me in honoring you in others. We need to honor Baba in others. You will have to help me peel back the numberless layers covering your real nature in me. The real nature is covered with numerous peels, as we say, the onion peelings, numerous peels. So the author is saying that please help me to peel back to come to my real nature, which is you. I could not say anything more, so I gazed at you in mute supplication and adoration. Supplication would be prayer, entreatment, etc. Noticing my silence, you shared a little more. The mindfulness I described earlier will release the grip of your ego, which is the disease itself. Although the disease has been diagnosed, it is still not easy to cure it and lead a life free of its influence. The first step during something is to diagnose what the issue, what is the disease, and only you go to the cure. Your sincere efforts will summon my grace to help you to be truly healthy. Very important sentence. Earlier also we had done a chapter on forgiveness and all that. And we said that Baba asked, 100% you will try? In other words, what is a very profound statement. Your sincere efforts will summon my grace. That means from our side, we have to try 100%. And when we have tried 100% to obey Baba, to do what Baba expects to do, then his grace will flow to us. That's what we intend. Your sincere efforts summon my grace to help you to be truly healthy, to feel that it is I who am living through you, to feel that it is I who is living through you. That means it is Baba who is doing everything through each one of us. You looked happy, and with gentle sweetness, you patted my shoulder and lovingly said, "You wished to speak with me. Haven't we conversed enough?" A shiver like lightning shot through my spine, and I felt extremely blissful. With you, every moment becomes an eternity. Or is it eternity that is compressed in each moment? It was hard to tell. I took your hand and stood to go. As I looked at you to say thank you, tears filled my eyes. What love! What love! I stepped backwards, still gazing at you. Understanding the ache of my separation, you waved goodbye to me and then looked away. I turned to go and after a few steps glanced back, but now, as before, you seemed to be totally absorbed in your own being. I did not know which quality was more exquisite, your expression into me or your perfect detachment. That is, Baba would like us to live deeply involved with everything, every aspect of our life, but with perfect detachment, with the that are impermanent, ephemeral. You know, they are not permanent. They are not, in a sense, a reflection of Brahm or illusion. Not daring to disturb anymore, I continued walking. Although my heart was overflowing with, my steps were heavy. As I walked along the lane, your words were reverberating through the trees. Your message, harmony between hand, head, and heart. That means the action, thoughts, and feelings was ringing through my body. Your simple, significant words shall always serve as a beacon, dispelling the various self centered qualities that in the past have nourished this ingrained disease. And Balnatuji ends with a small poem, always as he does, O Awakener, may the O Awakener, may the gift of your remedy remind me of your luminous, lively presence in my life, conferring real health. What is real health? Harmony devoid of strife. Strife means conflict. So, please let me have real health, which is harmony, which is devoid of strife. So here we end this chapter. Since we have not been able to, I feel, if you feel that, okay, everybody understood the implication of this chapter, then we need not repeat it. But if at all you want it to be repeated on Saturday, we can do that. We can take a call on Saturday. Let's see. Anybody has any questions? Anything to ask? Anything to share? Nothing. Right. So we thank Baba for this beautiful evening. Thank you, Baba, and thanks to all of you. And thanks to the internet also, because now we have owned a so-called so-called conferencing, but we could still be together at the vocal level. Thank you. Meher Baba ki jai.
Jai. Jai Meher Baba. Jai Meher Baba.
Meher Baba ki
Jai
jai.
Meher
Jai Baba. Jai Baba.
Jai Baba.
Jai Meher. Jai Meher.
Jai Meher Baba. Uncle, I'll end the meeting.
Yes, Janice, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Jai Meher Baba.
Baba.